on. Oh my God, giant dead follower again. Wow. Right here, dude. Oh my God, dude, did you see that? Dude, like it got tight, and I just let it there and just went, oh my gosh. I was like crawling over a rock, and I stopped it and just went, oh. Gosh, that's a giant, dude. Come here. Yeah! Woo-hoo-hoo! Smoke that glide bait. That was awesome. A lot of people, a lot of fishermen haven't had the privilege of seeing in person 10+ pound size fish. If you're lucky enough to put your hands on a 10+ pounder or even a 13, 14, 15 pounder, you know that that is an absolute different breed of fish. It's kind of remarkable, you know, 10+ pounders, 10 years of age or more. Why does a fish, you know, reach 13, 14 pounds? You know, there are fish that you know, eat their whole lives, do nothing but eat every single day, but may only get 8 or 9 pounds. I mean, why is that? We're learning more and more about bass behavior. And on a scientific level, the state of Texas, they are just excelling. Right now, there are more big bass in Texas than any other state. Come on, baby. Get it done today. 5 more minutes. There's one rock I'm gonna pitch to. Oh my gosh, dude, she's giant, huge. Oh my gosh, dude. I lost it. Come here. I freaking lost it. Oh my God, dude, it's over 10. It's over 10. Yes! Woo-hoo-hoo! I am freaking shaking right now because I know how big that thing is. Oh man, that feeling of catching one over 10 pounds. That's awesome. Oh my goodness. Please happen. She's 3 times the size of that 5 pounder. I remember the first time I set foot in Texas. It was for a Bassmaster Open. It was for a qualifying tournament to get to where I'm at now. You know, in this state, they say everything's bigger in Texas, and that is so true. When you're targeting these big trophies, you know, I'm a swim bait junkie. I love throwing that big spoon, you know, big giant topwaters. Texas is one of those places that rewards you for putting in that time of chunking that big old wooden swim bait all day long. The big bass are seemingly everywhere, but as I sit here in my boat, you know, on the shoreline of one of our Texas lakes here, I'm proud to call Texas home. And I've been real fortunate to have a kind of front row seat growing up in California, now living in Texas, to see, you know, both the states have huge bass, but, you know, one manages their fisheries, the other just kind of lets it hang out. You look at the record books, I mean, guys were catching big ones everywhere, Northern California, Southern California. I mean, the record books were just open to California big bass entries. And now you take a look at it and it's like, man, what happened? Why can't you do that anymore? It's a really weird thing. I thought California was the only place. I thought California was at the very top of the list for catching a world record bass. And I don't think that's the case anymore. The more tournaments we see, the more technology that comes out, the more fishing pressure put on these California fisheries, the more we realize that, you know, today, big fish numbers aren't there. And then you have Texas, where arguably they're cranking out so many 12s, 13s, and 14s, and you know, my buddy got a 16 this year, and you're starting to see those numbers almost skyrocket, and you ask yourself, why? Why is Texas continually putting out these teeners and 15s and 16s and 17s and every single year they get bigger and bigger and bigger. The numbers don't lie. I mean, we've all heard of Ivie by this point, right? I mean, so many big fish have been caught out of this little, deep, clear water fishery out there in West Texas, out in the middle of nowhere of Texas. And it simply has the ingredients to grow giant fish. On paper, this is the best lake in the country. But when you're on the best lake in the country, there's no paper out here, man. It's like, it's hard. It is so hard to get a bite out here. It's the worst, best lake in the country, period, hands down. You go to a place like this, you are after the biggest fish in the country, period. Just putting my trolling motor in the water this morning and picking up the 8-foot swim bait rod and dedicating the whole day to a big glide bait and searching for a 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 pounder. It's like the anticipation of a giant fish getting a hold of this lure is like so high. Got him, big one, giant. Come here, giant. Come here. She's hooked good, she's hooked good. Yeah! Woo-hoo-hoo! Smoked that glide bait. That was awesome. Now for this lake standards, that's like average. That's an 8 plus. Woo! She was hot. Oh, that's so cool, man. Nowhere in the country can you have that happen right there and expect to catch an even bigger one. That's insane. God, got it. What do I got? Oh, that's a giant on a wakebait. Gosh, that's a giant, dude. Come here, come here. What? Oh my gosh, dude. Slurped it down like it was a 1/4 ounce buzzbait, and that's a 9-inch wakebait. God. Like slurped it down like it was nothing. That's like a 9-pounder that should be 13 or 14. People bring 11s and 12s to that scale up on the hill all the time, and no one crowds around unless that fish is a 13, 14, or 15. I mean, 10-pounders galore. You can still catch them in California, sure, but you don't really see those numbers of huge bass like we saw 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Now the further along we get, the more money and resources get thrown into TPWD, Texas Parks and Wildlife. It makes you realize, the state of Texas takes the initiative and says, hey, let's take care of this fishery. In this console right here is my Texas fishing license. That fee funds Texas Parks and Wildlife, and it funds the SHARELUNKER program. In the state of Texas, part of that fee goes to resources down there at the Lunker Bunker in Athens, Texas. You go out, you go fishing, you catch a 13-pounder. Those jeans are valuable, and they know that. They'll come over in the springtime, they will pick up that 13+ pound fish, take it back to their headquarters, spawn that fish, recreate and spread those genes in this gene pool, in that gene pool, all these different lakes across Texas, and it just spreads those awesome genes required, to produce big bass factories.
So here at Texas Parks and Wildlife Department, there's a handful of funds that assist the SHARELUNKER program. It's anything from state and federal funds, and we also have some very generous partners and program supporters. There's Toyota that supports the program and is our primary sponsor, but we also have sponsors through AFCO. We also partner with our Bass Pro Shops. My name is Natalie Goldstrom, and I'm the Toyota Sharelunker Program Coordinator. With our genetics portion of our Sharelunker program and why we spawn 13-pound bass with other Sharelunker descendants, our hopes were that when we spawn the 13-pound bass that obviously has the genetic potential to be a big bass, and we bring in a male partner who has a mother that's also a 13-pound bass, when you pair them together, the offspring should have the genetic potential to be a very large bass. And we're actually seeing some returns on this. We're seeing from our genetic samples from other Sharelunkers through time that mother fish are producing other daughter fish, and that they have sister siblings. We see that there are aunt relationships and other relationships as well. So those Sharelunkers are producing other Sharelunkers that are coming into the program years later.
Yeah, I'm just a bass fisherman. I don't, you know, I'm not as smart as the Texas Parks and Wildlife folks, but bass are like humans in that there's moody ones, there's tall ones, short ones, there's heavier ones, there's skinnier ones, there's fast ones, slow ones, just like us. And Texas Parks and Wildlife, they know that. And what if we could gather all those tall ones, all those heavy ones, all those really aggressive ones, and what if we could reproduce those? That's the whole thinking behind that.
Oh gosh, we've hit many milestones in the Sharelunker program over the last 3 years. 2023, we had 18 Sharelunkers shared from our anglers and brought back to our Texas Freshwater Fisheries Center. A lot of it is fish coming out of OHIV. That this year was a historic year for OHIV. We had 15 Sharelunkers that were 13 pounds or better caught and shared with us, and that's the highest number ever collected from OHIV in one season. Some of the things that really helped OHIV is that water levels had dropped quite a bit, and back in around 2016, there was a lot of terrestrial vegetation that had grown up along the shoreline, and then we had a series of heavy rains come through and raise the water level significantly at OHIV. And so as those plants were inundated with water, you had just this nutrient boom and kind of a new lake effect happening, and so you had abundant number of prey resources available for these sport fish to kind of really take off. And about 10 years ago, there were tremendous Sharelunker years coming out of OHIV as well, where there were numbers of Sharelunkers caught and shared with the Sharelunker program. So we were able to restock OHIV about 10 years ago with a lot of Sharelunker DNA in our fingerlings. So there's great genetics going into that reservoir about 10 years ago, which is about how long it takes for a 13-pound bass to grow. And just great management in that reservoir, and our anglers are going out there, catching the fish and willing to share them with us.
You know, you look at, you know, some of the more popular lakes in the Lone Star State, Sam Rayburn, Toledo Bend, Lake Fork all come to mind. And yes, those are phenomenal fisheries, but they go up and down and up and down. And if you haven't heard of OHIV by now, you know, you simply don't bass fish, because it is red hot. It is kicking out 10-pounders every single day. The probability of catching a giant, you know, double-digit fish is very high on this place. You know, can you go to a Gunnersville? Can you go to a Chickamauga and catch a 10, 11, 12-pounder? Yes, but not as regularly as this place right here. I got a follower. I got a giant follower following it right now. Oh my gosh, dude. Get it done at some point. Be one hell of a video. It looks really, really good on paper. Like, it looks like a guaranteed, oh, I'm gonna drive out to West Texas and catch a double digit, catch a 13-pound Sharelunker, and it's gonna be easy. But when you're actually applying the techniques on the lake, you still have to deal with the weather. Just like all the tough fisheries we fish all across the country on tour, you're still dealing with these fronts that come through. You're still dealing with the water fluctuation, the water color changes. Giant! giant, dude. Oh, I can't boat flip it. Come here, come here. Yeah! Can't boat flip that one. Oh, it's a giant, dude. Smoked the glide bait. Fatty, dude. Like the furthest cast. That's like an 8+. Got her. Yep. Yep. Right off that edge. Oh my gosh, dude, that thing is freaking hooked. Oh, yes! When they get it, I mean, they got it. Like, they are convinced that that's a gizzard shad. Whew, still need that double digit, though. That's a giant. Giant, dude. Giant. It's a big one. Look at this thing. Oh, giant, dude. 10 pounder. Freaking 10 pounder. I knew it. I freaking knew it. Come here. Come here, come here. Oh my God, dude, it's over 10. It's over 10. Yes! Woo-hoo-hoo! Yes! Look at the size of that thing on a swimmer. Look at that. Oh man, that feeling of catching one over 10 pounds. That's awesome. Oh, she's big, dude. Really big. Oh, come here, big girl. 1076 on this one. 1076. Work our butts off for that double digit when you go to a place like this and it's not happening, it's not happening for 3 days straight, and on the 4th day when it happens, man, that is awesome. Just an absolute tanker. Dude, look how fat she is. Whew, that is awesome. Oh man, I love Texas. There's a lot of people sitting in that cafe right now who have not caught a single fish over 5 pounds in the 10 days that they've been here, and that is a fact. So just because you see all the big giant weights and 50-pound bags and, you know, teener sized fish pop up all over social media over the last couple of years, it's no gimme. And really, we don't know how long it's gonna last, you know, especially with seems like as a whole, bass fishing is just getting tougher and tougher. The competition, whether you're a tournament guy or a weekend guy, it seems like there's no more secrets. Even on some of these bigger lakes, you know, people get the information now and quick off their cell phones. We don't know, you know, how long this wave is going to last, but there's that glimmer of hope. And, you know, just knowing, hey, there was a 10-pounder caught yesterday. Hey, there was a 12-pounder caught over the weekend. But just knowing that those genetics are there and it's so cliche, but literally on any cast, you could catch a fish of a lifetime.
Yeah, so how long is OH Ivie's streak gonna last? And we know that water level has been declining, that the rains haven't been there over the last couple of years, and that even from last season, water levels have dropped about 8 feet low, and that has an impact on the bass food chain there, that as you lose habitat in the reservoir, you're also going to lose some of your prey resources there for your sport fish. So hopefully we get some rains out in West Texas. In the future, I think that there's going to be more people catching more big bass in Texas, and I think our genetics is going to continue to grow as people find out that they can share information about their genetics on their fish by just taking 3 scales off their fish. And I think we'll actually be able to kind of better target what makes a 13-pound bass a big fish based on our genetics, and really be able to use that information to put back into our natural resources. So we really rely heavily on our anglers to make sure that they're sharing their information with the SHARELUNKER program and to help make those big fish possible.
There's something completely wrong about catching an 8-pounder and almost getting frustrated that you're not catching 12s and 13s. But you know, when you put your hands on an 8-pounder, whether it's on a swim bait or a you know, a top water or whatever it is, and you're just throwing it back like it's a 2 or 3 pound coal fish, there's something really sick about that. But that's the experience, you know, you encounter you know, when you're playing in that gene pool. Big bass fishing, whether it be in California, whether it be in Texas, is something that I wish every viewer, I wish every person who's ever picked up a rod and a reel can experience. And it's one of those things in Texas, big bass fishing isn't like oh, I'm gonna go out and only throw a swim bait. Big bass fishing is just regular fishing in the state of Texas, and that's what makes it cool.